Herzlich willkommen zum Apache Hop User Meeting 2025, jetzt schon in der 5. Ausgabe und wir werden immer mehr. Wir warten noch, dass ein paar reinkommen, aber ich kann euch schon mal alle herzlich begrüßen. Kurz ein bisschen Housekeeping vorab. Eigentlich wie immer, wir zeichnen das Event auf, ihr bekommt alles im Nachgang an Slides zugesendet, ihr könnt das alles im YouTube-Channel übernächste Woche euch dann nochmal anschauen, alle Meetings oder alle Vorträge. Wenn ihr Fragen habt, gerne jederzeit in den Chat. Und ja, ansonsten freue ich mich, dass wir immer mehr werden und wir wollen es natürlich auch jedes Jahr immer ein bisschen besser machen und werden. Kurze Frage, ihr seht es auch schon im Chat. Wie wollen wir das denn nächstes Jahr machen? Wir werden immer größer. Ich würde euch echt gern mal vor Ort live mit euch diskutieren. Ich würde das Event auch gerne live vor Ort machen. Und würdet ihr denn überhaupt kommen? Das ist immer erst so eine Frage. Oder passt euch eine Remote? Oder wenn ja, wo wollen wir uns denn treffen? Wir haben mal 3 Vorschläge gemacht. Hamburg, Frankfurt, München. Einmal Norden, einmal Süden, einmal in der Mitte. Wenn ihr Alternativvorschläge habt, gerne auch in den Chat. Also wir haben viele Kollegen heute aus der Schweiz. Also wenn wir es in Zürich machen sollen, haut es einfach mal gerne in den Chat rein. Dann gucken wir mal, ob wir noch mal irgendwo nach Zürich noch mal eine extra Veranstaltung machen. Sehr, sehr gerne. Und das Ganze soll aber relativ locker werden. Wir würden einen Raum organisieren, wir würden 2, 3 Kisten Bier bereitstellen, wir würden Pizza bestellen. Das wird keine Hochglanzveranstaltung. Wir würden gerne unter Entwicklern bleiben, vielleicht einen kleinen Hackathon oder so machen. Das wäre ganz cool, wenn ihr uns da mal Feedback geben würdet. Und ja, vielleicht sehen wir uns dann 2026 alle vor Ort. Das würde mich echt freuen. Also gerne mal abstimmen, wie bei euch so die Stimmung ist oder ob ihr euch das gerne vor Ort anschaut. Ich stimme hier auch ganz kurz mal ab. Oder auch nicht. Haben wir schon Ergebnisse? Sehen wir schon? Gerne vor Ort, nehme ich an. Jetzt sehe ich auch die Ergebnisse. Sehr, sehr cool. Frankfurt und München betteln sich gerade. Okay, okay. Und gerne vormittags. Gerne vormittags? Okay. Ich dachte, wir machen eine Abendveranstaltung draus, aber gerne auch vormittags. Dann machen wir Business Lunch. Dann wird das mit den 2 Kisten Bier ein bisschen schwieriger, aber kriegen wir auch hin. Ja, vielen Dank. 2026, nicht mehr remote, sondern vor Ort in Frankfurt an einem Vormittag. Ich freue mich drauf. Lasst uns gerne aber reinstarten mit den Vorträgen. Wir haben eine super vollgepackte Agenda. Wir starten wie immer mit Bart Martens, 6 Jahre Apache Hop. Vortrag ist auf Englisch. Wenn ihr eine Frage zu dem Vortrag habt, bitte auch direkt auf Englisch stellen, dann muss ich das nicht übersetzen. Danach haben wir KI-gestützte Enterprise- und Geodatenintegration mit Apache Hop. Mega spannend mit Vibe-Coding und allem drum und dran. Wir machen dann eine kurze Pause. Gucken uns dann an SAP by Design mit so einem OData-Connector. Das haben wir dieses letzte Jahr mitentwickelt. Da ist der Tom und der Andreas. Die haben letztes Jahr schon präsentiert. Die nehmen euch mit auf die Reise, was so das letzte Jahr passiert ist, wo Stolpersteine waren und was jetzt auch Neues integriert worden ist. Wir haben eine Hop-Migration, Lessons Learned. Mega spannend für alle, die gerade sich verschiedenste ETL-Tools angucken oder gerade überlegen, nach Hop zu wechseln. Da ist der Gerhard und der Dražen, die werden dann wirklich aus der Praxis erzählen, über was sie alles gestolpert sind. Und zum Schluss haben wir einen Vortrag mit Data Lineage. Das Thema wird immer wichtiger. Ja, wir haben im Hop grafische ETL-Strecken, aber wir zeigen euch, wie man mit einem Open Source Data Catalog mit Data Hub die komplette Data Lineage von Apache Hop darstellen kann. Plus natürlich auch die ganzen Data Governance-Themen, die dann noch on top dann kommen. Und wir zeigen euch auch, wie wir das Ganze an einen LLM gepackt haben und wie man dann das dann ja mit dem dann reden kann, wo die Daten sind und wie die Daten durchs System fließen. Also mega spannend. Danach werde ich die ganze Show abmoderieren. Wenn ihr aber noch Interesse habt, euch mehr über Large Language Models auszutauschen, über Business Cases zu reden, würde ich euch danach einfach anbieten, auf einen kurzen Talk, einen kleinen Roundtable. Wie gesagt, startet direkt, wenn die Veranstaltung abmoderiert ist. Dann können wir auch nicht mehr über den Chat kommunizieren. Dann machen wir einfach die Mikrofone an und können einfach in einer kleinen Runde diskutieren, jeder, der Spaß hat, wie wir Large Language Models in Apache Hop integrieren, wo da die Use Cases sind und wie ihr das vielleicht eventuell auch schon eingesetzt habt in euren Projekten. Würde ich mich mega auf den Austausch freuen. So, lasst uns keine Zeit verschwenden. Wir starten mit dem ersten Vortrag. I switch to English. And hope he is here. Yeah, Bart, welcome here.
Morning.
The stage is yours.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll do this in English. I understand German and I speak a little bit of German, but I don't want to hurt your feelings by trying to speak German. You should see my screen now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So for people who don't know me, Bart Martens, I'm one of the Apache Hop co-founders, PMC member. Before Hop, I had a history of almost 20 years with Pentaho. So I've been in this game for quite a while, and we'll have a look at what happened in the 6 years since we started Hop and what is next in 2026 and beyond. So why Hop in 2025-26 going forward? A lot has changed in the open source data engineering world in the last couple of years. The open source editions of Pentaho, data integration, talent are both taken out of the market. Apache Hop, on the other hand, is doing quite well. The project is, well, it, of course, is open source. We have an active community that is growing. The project is growing, is evolving, so that looks pretty good. And above anything else, Hop is a modern data engineering platform. We try to integrate with modern data platforms. That is a very broad term. But that means that on premise in the cloud, we try to integrate with the fast evolving technology landscape. And that means you can run your pipelines and workflows in streaming, in batch mode, on-prem, in the cloud. We try to integrate with the data that you have. We try to integrate Hop with the architectures that you have without enforcing any architectural decisions. So we try to keep Hop as flexible as possible. A bit of community growth since we had the previous session in late November, early December 2024. The Apache Hop contributors have grown from 88 to over 100. We had almost 1,000 new commits. We grew from 1,000 to 1,300 stars. That is not impressive if you see some of the other platforms that have exploding star numbers, but for an open source data engineering platform like Apache Hop, the growth is nice. LinkedIn is pretty popular. There are quite a lot of posts on LinkedIn. There's a Hop user group that is growing in numbers. But yeah, 3,600 followers on LinkedIn. The YouTube channel isn't very active, but there are a couple of older videos and they keep attracting new followers there as well. Earlier this year, we switched from a more or less ad hoc 2 months-ish release cadence to a more stable quarterly release. So we started switching to 4 stable releases per year. So about every 3 months, you can expect a new Apache Hop release. The next one, 2.16, I'll get into a bit more detail about that, is available now, will be announced probably tomorrow. But that is, the next one in our quarterly releases. Quick overview of what happened in the last year. In 2.11, we introduced new LLM and NLP transforms. There's a language model chat that lets you write prompts on the data that flows through a pipeline. There's a web scraping, natural language processing, a couple of other transforms. That was a big batch of LLM, ML related transform plugins that were contributed in the 2.11 release. In 2.12, we had a lot more, of course, in all these releases, but these are the highlights. 2.12 introduced variable resolvers, and variable resolvers let you integrate with secret stores, key stores. For example, HashiCorp, Google Secrets Manager, Azure Key Vault will be in 2.16, AWS Secrets Manager will be in 2.17. But these variable resolvers let you define a variable placeholder that is resolved in runtime. So you can create, for example, a database password reference that doesn't have to contain the actual password, whether that is obfuscated or not, but that password reference is resolved in runtime, so you can get your database password, for example, in runtime when the pipeline runs, and get it from HashiCorp Vault, Google Secrets Manager, and so on. In 2.13, we introduced multiple Google Cloud storage locations that already existed for Azure. So you can now get files from Azure Blob Storage, from Google Cloud Storage buckets with multiple accounts. That's one of the requests that we had quite frequently. You could already connect to Azure Blob Storage, to AWS S3, Google Cloud Storage with a single account on the hop level. Now you can create a metadata type and switch between storage accounts in runtime. 2.14, one of the bigger changes there was mail server connections. So before 2.14, if you wanted to send out error mails, notifications, send out HTML emails with attachments, all of the server information had to defined in every individual transform or action. We now have a mail connection metadata type that lets you specify a global mail server connection and reuse that in all of the transforms and actions. That provides a bit more flexibility. And then 2.15, one of the things that we had there was a Databricks database dialect that lets you interact with Databricks databases over JDBC, Unity Catalog, and so on. Release activity. This, we have, like the description says, fluctuating ticket volumes. There are a couple of releases. We switched to the quarterly release cycle. That meant we had a very short release with limited activity because we only had a couple of weeks between releases. There are summers, winter breaks, so not all releases see as much activity. But what we see overall is that we have, with almost every release, we have new contributors that join the project. We have a growing number of contributors. For example, 2.16, the latest release, had 22 people who actively contributed to the release. So that is another indication that Hop is an active, project with a growing community and is attracting new users, but also new contributors. So that's a sign of good health again. The upcoming 2.16 release that will be announced probably tomorrow has a couple of nice things as well. We have a new Snowflake ID transform. So that's a transform that lets you generate Snowflake IDs. The Azure Key Vault variable resolver will now let you get secrets from the Azure Key Vault secret store. A lot of improvements in Salesforce, similar to what I mentioned for the mail server connections. For Salesforce, you used to have to create username, passwords based connections for every individual transform. That is now moved to a metadata type, so you can create a Salesforce connection and reuse that connection from all of your inputs, outputs, input, insert, upsert, delete, Salesforce transforms. We have all support there. And one of the things that a couple of people requested was that you can now use Salesforce keys instead of labels, and that makes it a bit more reliable, robust to work with Salesforce transforms. The JSON data type that existed for quite a while in Apache Hop, but couldn't be used in a lot of places, has seen some work. So you can now use the JSON data type to get JSON data from Postgres, well, to interact with JSON in Postgres in MongoDB, and there will be some more work there as well. There's a new UID data type, and there's a lot of, like in every release, we had a lot of updates in documentation and samples. And actually, one of the people who will speak later today has contributed a lot to the samples recently. That's if there is anything in Hop that you want to explore, haven't used before, have a look at the samples project. There's quite a big library of pipelines, workflows there that you can explore to see how different transforms, different actions, different design patterns work. In 2.17, the release that will be available in late January, early February next year. The roadmap, Hop as a community project has a bit of a flexibility in roadmaps. We have long-term goals, but depending on the tickets that come in, the feature requests that people make, the actual scope of release can change. But a couple of things that we will work on in 2.17 is UI improvements. I can show a couple of these things later on. But there's a discussion on the GitHub page, the project, the Apache Hop GitHub page, where we discuss UI improvements that will need to be made. We'll have the AWS Secrets Manager variable resolver. One of the PRs that was merged already is REST connections. REST connections have been moved to a metadata type as well in one of the previous releases. You will now have certificate-based authentication in the REST connections as well. And there will be more, of course. Couple of the UI changes that we'll work on is the project environment and Git branches dialog that used to be at the top of your Hop GUI. That will now move to the bottom of Hop GUI, where you'll have a pop-out dialog that lets you choose new projects, new environments in a bit of a more user-friendly way. We'll have a terminal widget that lets you work in a terminal straight from Hop GUI, which is useful for tasks that don't have full functionality in Hop GUI yet, that require some command line work. And you will be able to do that in 2.17 without having to leave Hop GUI. And the goal of these things and other things that will follow is that we'll turn Hop GUI into a full data engineering IDE, where you'll be able to do as much of your work as possible without having to leave Hop GUI, so it will be a fully integrated environment for all of your Apache Hop tasks. The same with unified file browser with Git controls. What we'll do is you have the different perspectives, the data integration perspective, where you create and run and test your workflows and pipelines. You have the file explorer. We'll merge those two, so you will be able to open files from rename whatever files from the same perspective as the one where you do almost all of the work. The option panel, the configuration perspective, grew over the years and may require or will require a bit of cleanup. So we'll work on a more unified user experience there. We'll make sure that the transform and action dialogues become a bit more consistent. And we'll take a look at the unit testing dialogues. Unit testing in Apache Hop is very powerful. Lets you create tests that not only check that your pipelines run without errors, but with unit tests, you can also validate that the data that flows through a pipeline is exactly what you expect it to be. A very powerful feature, but the user experience can be improved, and that's one of the things that we'll also work on in 2.17. Looking ahead, beyond 2.17, like I said, the Apache Hop project is a community-driven project. There will be a lot of requests that come in that we don't know of now. But we as an OBI have a couple of things that we want to work on in the rest of the year. One of these things is extended metadata capabilities. We want to make metadata an even more first-class citizen in Apache Hop. We want to make sure that at every point we know which metadata is involved in a pipeline, in a workflow, and that will lead to making things possible like refactoring. If you rename, for example, a database connection, we'll be able to figure out in which pipelines, which transforms, which workflows, which actions that database connection name is used, and then refactor, make sure that that rename is applied to all of the places where that metadata object is used. Same for pipelines that are used in workflows. If you rename something, if you change something, we'll be able to follow the entire flow of that metadata through your projects. Similarly, we'll take a look at database tables and columns. Right now, you can define database connections, but we don't have a lot of information about the individual tables and columns in your workflows and pipelines. We'll improve that as well. The Neo4j functionality needs an upgrade. We are still on Neo4j 4. That actually is very, very close to its end of life. So we'll have to make sure that everything works, is upgraded to, and is tested with Neo4j 5. MongoDB needs an upgrade. We get quite a lot of questions about data catalog, data lineage support, so we'll have a look at that as well. One of the problems there is that there's no real standardization. There are a lot of popular data catalogs, data lineage platforms. We'll have to find a way of integrating those in Apache Hop, but that's something that we'll look at. And then we'll also work on a hosted platform where you can integrate your projects, your workflows, pipelines with a full GitOps workflow. And last thing on the bottom right is something that you'll hear more about in the upcoming months. There are a couple of things that we have been working on that I can't talk about now in more detail, but yeah, there will be some announcements in the coming months that we think are pretty exciting. I mentioned the community a couple of times. Hop is an open source project and only thrives by community involvement. And it's pretty easy to join, to contribute. We'll have a look at that in a moment. I think Hop is relatively atypical as an Apache project in the sense that we have a diverse community, a diverse inflow of community members, users, and contributors, whereas there are a lot of larger Apache projects that are backed by a single company. Hop has really a diverse user group. There are a lot of users in the German area, in the DACH area. There's a large community in France. Europe in general is quite big. North America is quite big. South America is quite big. Asia has a large community, and all of these have different use cases. But all of the contributions, the community involvement make sure that Hop is a thriving project and will continue to be in the coming years. So it's important to be involved and to contribute. Contributing is a lot more than just writing code. There's a lot of translation work. For example, the German translations in Apache Hop are at 47%. It's pretty easy to translate messages in the Hop GUI, most importantly in Hop GUI. We have translate.projecthop.org, which is a web-based UI where you can just identify a message in, for example, a select values transform that is untranslated, or where you want to improve the translation. You can just use the web UI to add and submit that translation. So that's an easy way. Providing samples, examples is an easy way of contributing. Providing real-world use cases. That gives confidence. If you have a use case that you want to share, we'll start adding logos and customer cases, user cases on the Apache Hop website. If you have a project that you're proud of and want to share, we'll be happy to add your logo, your use case on that page as well. And then if you don't write code yourself, reach out to one of the Apache Hop developers. I don't mind if you reach out to us, but there are others as well who can help you with creating bug fixes, implementing feature requests and so on. Open source in general is great. I have been an open source believer for almost all of my entire career. I think the big advantage of an open source project like Apache Hop is the lack of vendor lock-in. I mentioned that earlier. Hop is developed by a diverse community of developers, is used by a very diverse user group, and as an Apache project will never have the vendor lock-in like we saw with Pentaho data integration with the Talend open source options. That's just impossible with an Apache project. Even if the development would stop, there's an attic where projects that stopped evolving are still preserved, so you're absolutely sure, safe that the project will be available. The code is available, so you have the transparent code base, and the community drives evolution. Community is what this is all about. There are a couple of risks. There are a couple of things that you have to be aware with in open source. It doesn't run itself in production. We actually spend a lot of time providing community support on GitHub in the Apache Hop Slack, but that's best effort. There are limits to what can be done there. You don't have any patch releases. And that's where we as an OBI try to help customers, not just users of the open source platform, but that we created our Putki brand that is a layer on top of Apache Hop, where you can get support, access to a knowledge base. We have patch releases, we have a knowledge base, we provide coaching. And we are developing integration with a couple of platforms that are not available in Apache Hop yet. A couple of the logos here are Odoo, HubSpot, Shopify. And some of that will end up in Apache Hop releases. So you'll see those coming up in 2.17, 2.18 at some point in the next couple of months. Not everything will be open source, but we can help you here to reliably run everything that you need in your Apache Hop projects, deployments in production that go well beyond what the pure open source offering is. That's about everything that I had to share. If you want to find out more, reach out. And these are our NoBI details, but reach out on GitHub if you have bugs, if you have feature requests as well. And if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks.
Thank you, Bart. Thank you for the insights. We have a lot of questions. Could it be possible to integrate external metadata tools?
Yes, it's open source. The source code is available. We can basically integrate everything. I think the metadata catalogs, data catalogs, I think that's the direction we're going here. That is possible. I think what I mentioned with data catalogs, lineage, applies here as well. There are no hard standards, no unified standards. That makes it, from a technical point of view, a bit harder to have a global unified metadata integration, but it's definitely possible. And if you want to discuss more, reach out on start a GitHub discussion, a feature request, and we can look at it in more detail.
Yeah, and also we will show this in our last presentation. We connect Apache Hop with Data Hub for data lineage and for the catalog things. Yeah, pretty cool. Next question: are you planning something about DBT integration? I think.
I should have mentioned it at the start. I'd love to. That's and I'm speaking as Bart now, not as a community member. We haven't discussed this in a GitHub discussion. I'd love to, and I think DBT has a more ELT rather than ETL approach, but it could be nice to explore if we can integrate DBT as a workflow action, for example. So call DBT functions from a workflow. So it's not there yet, but it's interesting to say the least.
Great, great. One question from the audience: can I use Apache Hop in Kubernetes?
Yes, yes. There is a Helm chart that is available on the download page, and there will be more. Yeah, I know, again, me, but I think as a community, it's fair to say that we know of deployments where Hop is used in. There are quite a lot of deployments where Hop is used in a Kubernetes environment, and we'll do more to support those use cases better, but it's already possible.
Great, great. And one last question I see: how well does it work on European cloud platform?
Should have mentioned that in my talks. That is, that's one of the things that we'll focus on. Hop is the Apache Software Foundation is a global NGO. They have a headquarter in the US, but the Hop developer team is largely European. Digital sovereignty is becoming a topic. As an open source platform with a large European community, I think that's a good thing, and we'll definitely also focus on, in addition to the three large cloud providers, we'll look at OVH, Stackit, Hetzner. Stackit and Hetzner being German. We'll definitely make sure that I know there are already deployments in those cloud environments, but that support will only have to become stronger. So if you find a bug that is specific to Stackit, Hetzner, OVH, you name it, we'll definitely make sure that is taken care of.
Great, thank you. I don't see any other questions. So thank you, Bart, for being here. Next
if there's
year,
anything else, I'll keep an eye on the chat.
Frankfurt or in Zurich or in Vienna, maybe.
Frankfurt is not that far. Vienna is great. Zurich is great. So I wouldn't mind coming over.
Great. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks.